Scott, thank you for joining us after a brilliant result last weekend against Colchester. We're back at home as we face Mansfield. Can I get your thoughts ahead of that game?
Yeah, a tough game against a really strong side, really experienced manager as well. But yeah, it's a game we're looking forward to. They've not played for, I think, 17 days. So whether that means that they come into this game really fresh or whether they come into this game really rusty, let's hope it's the latter. We're going to have to be at our best no matter what they bring, because they're a really good side.
Yeah, we know we're obviously very good at home. Our form at home's been excellent all season, and as well as last season, it was crucial as well. But we're going to need that, aren't we? We're going to need to take a confidence into this game, as I think yourself and many other managers describe Mansfield as one of the best outfits in the league this season.
Yeah, they are. No, I've watched them a lot. I've watched them over the months. You know, when I've been watching other oppositions, Mansfield have popped up on a number of occasions, and I've always felt that they look a strong side. And then obviously got into watching them at detail this week, and they're a good side. You know, they've got really good players, really strong players, and they've got a way of playing that's very pleasing on the eye, but very effective as well, you know. And it's going to be a tough game, but, you know, we're in a good place. I think we've won 5 out of 7, so we're in a good place. The boys are really confident, and we're looking forward to the game.
We spoke about it with Ben after Colchester as well. It seems that a lot of teams at the moment will be looking at us and going, this isn't a good time to play Crawley. As you said, 5 wins from the last 7 in all competitions, and you know, teams will be looking, including Mansfield, probably looking at us not fancy playing us really.
Quite possibly, you know, all we've got to do is just concentrate on ourselves really, and possibly they are thinking that. We just got to make sure that we keep a level of performance throughout, and make sure that we perform and we play the way we've been playing, and hopefully the results will follow like they have done just of late. So now we're in a good place at the moment. You know, we're fully full complement of players as well. I think there's only Jack Rolls who's got a slight thigh problem at the moment, a little bit of tightness in his thigh, but everybody else is fit. So yeah, we're looking forward to the weekend.
Yeah, and games like this, I suppose, are only going to help us prepare for the busy run that we've got ahead. It's a crazy amount of games coming up, and some of them against really tough opposition. I don't know the actual stat for it, but I think a lot of the teams we're playing are certainly in the top half in the build up to Christmas.
Yeah, it's a really tough kind of next part of the schedule's really tough in terms of who we're playing. But we looked at the start of the season thinking that, you know, and we picked up some real valuable points then. So I'm not fazed by that at all. I think that we take who we take, and we just got to make sure we prepare properly and recover properly, because they, like you say, they're coming thick and fast. So it's important that we get the recovery right, and it's important we get the preparation right, which, you know, with the staff and everybody, how we work here, I'm sure we will.
It seems like we almost thrive off of those games as well. We've always said that we do well against the bigger teams. Do you think there's a reason for that? Is it not necessarily a pressure off kind of thing, but do you think there's a certain mentality with that comes with it?
No, not really. I think that we're a good side. I think we're a good side. You know, I think that we've set off really well. We've had a good campaign up to now. You know, I think we've played in all competitions maybe 26 games and we've won 12. So when you look at that, that's 46% win ratio, which is good. You know, and I think we're a good side. So you know, why can't we take on the likes of Mansfield and Gillingham's and MK Dons and Wimbledon's? You know, why can't we? You know, we're ready, we're prepared, and we're looking forward to this run of fixtures.
Yeah, we're obviously touched with that we're going to, you know, get through this Christmas period with, you know, a full complement. You said there that it's only sort of Jack Rolls that's missing out at the moment. I suppose it's the perfect time to have people like Dion coming back, having Glads, you know, being able to constantly play 90 minutes, because we've seen some other teams. I think Stockport's an example. They listed off the injuries they had, and you know, it's immense, and that can be really struggling for a team at this busy period, can't it?
No, exactly, and I think a lot of credit's got to go to the medical department and the strength and conditioning department here at Crawley, and I think that they've done fantastically well. We've had, I think it's over 94 or 95% in terms of player availability, which is a credit to them, and the players as well. The players have, you know, obviously managed themselves really well on and off the pitch. But we're going to need all them players, like you say. As much as we don't want to chop and change the team too much, but we might have to, because the game's coming thick and fast, and we might have to use all them players. So the fact that we have them players available, and we've seen them, you know, some of them players play in the cup games and have done extremely well. They understand how we play, which you know, if they're called upon, they'll be ready and used appropriately.
Thank you. Thank you. Sort of sticking with that theme, Scott. You said on Saturday, I think it was Dion, Ben and Liam, and they started together. You've won all 4 games with them in. I think that was what you said.
That's right.
Given that Dion and Ben have had their injury issues, is it a case of, especially with this period coming up, that you manage their time? If they're fit, do they just start? Or do you manage their time because of that, because of the injuries in the past?
Yeah, I think if they're fit and they're playing well, they start.
Yeah.
You know, I think so, because they're big players for us. I think Dion coming back in, you saw that real calmness from him as we were building from the back. And obviously Ben Gladwin's the captain, who I just feel that the players feel a lot better when he's on the pitch than when he's not on the pitch. Yeah. And, you know, he understands how we play. But yeah, I think if they're fit, they play. We just got to manage them through the week. You know, we manage them now through the week. Even if we've got a clear week, we tend to off-feet them for a few days at the start of the week, and then they get introduced to the back end of the week. So we get the tactical stuff done ready for the Saturday. But no, it's just, like you say, like about managing them.
And looking at Mansfield, what is it particularly that makes them the outfit they are and doing so well this season?
Good players.
Is it as simple?
Really good players. Good manager. You know, he's a very experienced manager, Nigel, and but they've got some really, really good players. You know, Aidan Flint obviously had an unbelievable career, played a lot of football in the Championship. You know, he's above the level really even now. Lewis Reed in midfield, good player. Maris, good player. You know, they've got good players all over the pitch. And they have a way of playing where, you know, they have an understanding of each other. And they're aggressive with it. You know, they're aggressive with how they play with the ball, and they're aggressive without the ball.
And I know you haven't come out and said your targets and ambitions for this year, but are you on target for those ambitions and that, or do you think you're overachieving?
No, we're on target for where I feel we should be. Yeah, I think we're probably about right, and what we want to do is just kind of maintain what we've done so far and keep in and around it, and you know, and have a push at the end.
Yeah, and we talked about a couple of weeks ago the January transfer window coming up. Have you started having the conversation with players? Are you confident you can bring in and strengthen where you want to strengthen in January?
Well, we've certainly got lists of players, and we're certainly looking now at players, you know, on a daily basis, and looking to see if, you know, they first of all see if they fit the remit of what we want and how we want it. You know, so we've certainly started that process. You know, speaking to the owners, there may be some movement, you know, ins and outs. So we'll have to wait and see what happens.
And Lawrence Maguire, obviously, his loan runs out in January, I think. He wants to stay when we've spoken to him and that. Do you want him to stay, and is there any conversations?
100% want Lawrence to stay, yeah, for sure. I think it's just a case of, you know, us agreeing, Lawrence agreeing, and Chesterfield agreeing, and it'll be done. You know, definitely. You know, Lawrence has been outstanding for us, hasn't he? You know, he's really taken that position up brilliantly. You know, he's joined in attacks. He's defended great. You know, he's been a threat on set pieces. I think he's been smart with the ball. He knows when to play long. He knows when to pass it inside. He knows when to come back round and recycle it. He's just a very smart footballer, and really understands what I want from him. So, yeah, definitely 100% want to keep him.
And just to mention Will Wright, you pushed him forward into midfield on Saturday. Are we going to see more of that over this? Is it just a case of who you're playing against and who you've got available?
No, I think that it was something that we thought of a couple of weeks ago. We wanted to put, you know, a strong back line in with still a strong defensive midfield, but with two players who can actually handle the ball really well. In Gladwin and Will Wright, you've got that. And, of course, Will's, you know, a defender as well, so it kind of suited. And when you look at that back three and them two midfield players, there's not very many times that you would think that you can cut through that. Even though I felt that there was moments on Saturday where we looked a little open, but we put that straight on the training ground. We talked about it when we analysed the game, and it's just kind of readjusting one or two things. And I think that we will become more solid with that. I think Will's a lovely footballer, so you know, even though he comes as a defender, I like to think that all my players can play in different positions, and I'm the type of manager that will try things as well. And for me, it was. Some might say it might be a gamble, but sometimes you got to gamble to see if things work or not. And I felt it worked perfectly. I thought he did the role brilliantly.
Thanks, Scott.
Cool. Ash?
And Scott, just touching on that other question, that last question from Mark there as well. In a season that that's packed with fixtures, there's plenty still to go as well. How important is that versatility aspects? Different players shifting into different roles.
Yeah, definitely, it's really important. And I think kind of moving on to that as well, you end up bumping Liam Kelly higher up the pitch, which is always a plus. He obviously scored his goal, had a chance before that as well where he could have scored. And I thought he linked really well down the right-hand side with Kellen Gordon. But with putting Will into that midfield area, like I say, bumps Liam Kelly higher, and you've got a real quality player higher up the pitch as well. So, yeah, I think it's important that we have players who can play in different roles. You see Gladwin can play as a 10, plays that defensive midfield player, and can also plays the offensive midfield player, which he did on Saturday. Same with Jay Williams. Jay can play in the middle of a back three, right of a back three, middle of the pitch. I think that's important that we have that for sure.
And moving into the January transfer window, is that something that you keep in mind as well going forward? Players that aren't just, stuck to a certain role, but will facilitate that as well?
Yeah, we have to look at players who can play different roles for sure. I think you always end up with more value for money when you get a player who can play different roles. But like I say, we're putting lists together of players that we would think that could strengthen us or at least improve on what we've got, and let's see where it takes us.
And Scott, you come into this weekend's game against Mansfield. Your side is on strong form. What has pleased you the most about them recently?
Just the confidence, really, to keep playing the way we're playing. I don't want to see us ever kind of come away from that. I think when you play well, like we did, and I think we got 13 points from 15 in one of the months. Was it September, where we went and won a lot of games, and then we went through October and only picked up 1 point, and then you worry that the players are going to deviate from what we've been working on because they then don't believe in it. But what's pleased me the most is that we've never come away or come off what we believe in and how we've been playing, because it's almost like a Bible to the players that they really trust in what we're doing and really trust in the formation, really trust in the patterns of play and how we play. And even when results have not been great, I still believe that in large the performances have been great, have been good. You probably take out maybe the second half of the Swindon game where we got battered and wasn't very good. Apart from that, I think we've been in most games. And I've been really pleased with the attitudes of the players to keep playing our way and never try to get too far away from that.
How do you keep that? How do you maintain that as well then? Is it constantly banging the drum day in, day out of training, with the same philosophy every single day, making sure they don't forget it? What do you implement to make sure that they're always motivated no matter the previous result?
It's how we debrief the game. I watch all our games back in real detail and take positive clips from it and galvanise the team by showing them positive clips, but I also show them bits where we need to improve on. And we're constantly banging the drum on that. And then, of course, on the training ground, we're doing a lot of 11v11s where every player joins in, and we rotate bits and pieces around so everybody gets kind of used to that. And and the players just buy into it because it's kind of how we work. Don't get me wrong, we're not like robots where that is what we do and that's it. There's elements that we change. I don't know if anybody noticed the goal kick that got us the penalty on Saturday. We actually, don't know if you noticed, we actually worked on a different goal kick, which got us in, and it got us in for the penalty. So, that worked. There's certain bits will change every now and then, but the nuts and bolts of it kind of stays the same.
Coming up to Christmas as well. It's almost a year since you've joined Crawley Town as well. How would you... I've asked you time and time again to reflect on how times have changed and things like that, but, is is it quite a difference from where you were in life and in your career from last Christmas to now? And how does that feel looking back on that year?
Yeah, it is a big difference for sure. I think, this time last year I was still at Swindon, and probably wasn't enjoying it as much as I am now. Even though, from a personal point of view, we were in the playoffs at Swindon, but wasn't enjoying it as much. I really enjoy working for this football club. The players, the staff, everybody connected to the club are brilliant to work with. Fans, obviously, are just different class. I appreciate them and they appreciate me. So yeah, in my opinion, and certainly since I joined in January with the football club, or certainly on the football pitch, we've come a hell of a long way from what we was to where we are now.
And finally, it's a win this weekend may push you into those playoff spots. 3 points on the table. Obviously, you've got your targets. You don't want to jump too far ahead of yourself. There's still a lot of games to go. But is that at the back of your mind at all? Where you are in the table and pushing into those spots for Crawley?
I just want to try and kind of keep where we are and keep it alive, sort of thing. Like I just mentioned, we've played 26 games this season, all competitions, won 12. So it's a 46% ratio. That's good going. It's really good going, and we want to continue that. We don't want to dip below that if we can help it, and we want to keep winning as many games as we can. I trust in my players to do that. I back my players to do it. I fear no one. I don't fear anyone. Whoever comes here, I'll roll my sleeves up and take anyone on. No problem at all, and I want my players to feel like that as well.